Hello, everybody. We're running a moment late here, but as soon as Alex hooks in, we'll be able to get started. Cindy's not going to be able to join us this week and next week, but she'll be back. And here she comes.
I'm here.
Hello. How you doing?
Sorry, my nurse showed up late, and then I told him, I was like, listen, you got to be here before 4 or after 5. And he got here at 3:45, and then we realized he had to pack my meds today. So, yeah.
It's just another day at the beach. That's what.
Yeah. And then I had to reset my phone again this morning, so I lost the ID number that automatically signs me in.
What's with all the resets? Jeez.
I can't. Ever since I got this phone, I haven't been able to send text messages picture messages via text without turning my Wi-Fi off. It's so stupid.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, so I had to talk to a tier 2 person, and they figured it out.
Good to hear. Glad to hear they figured it out. Heaven forbid you should actually have to switch to a fruit phone, so I'm glad they figured it out.
Well, that's the thing. They had me set up as a fruit phone. So that was, the whole programming was wrong.
Oh, that's funny.
I manifested that one myself. I know I did.
All right, let's see if we can get this party started. Welcome to LOA Today. I'm Walt along with Alex King. Today is Wednesday, July the 3rd, 2019. It is 4 p.m. in New York, 1 p.m. in Los Angeles, 9 p.m. in London, 6 a.m. in Sydney, Australia, and 5 a.m. in Tokyo. But wherever you are in the world, thank you for joining us for another episode of LOA Today, your daily dose of happy. And Cindy Chavez is on a little bit of a summer vacation for the next couple of weeks, so Alex has graciously agreed to sit in for her. We appreciate that so much, Alex.
You got me for the next 2 weeks, people.
There we go. And we will be getting back to Neville once Cindy returns, of course. But we're de-Nevilleizing for a couple of weeks here. We're just going to chat about stuff that's outside of the Neville universe, which for Nevilleite almost doesn't exist.
But is it really outside of the Neville universe?
Well, actually, it's all internal. See, from the way Neville teaches, everything is based on I am. It's based on your consciousness. So the phrase being everything is you pushed out.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, right. So today we're going to deviate from the you pushed out and actually join the world. But we've been talking about what kind of a topic to have for today, and you had a good idea. We should be updating people on what's going on with the project, the audio play that we've been working on for, God, what is it? Is it 4 or 5 months now?
We started, I think we created the idea in February, I want to say.
Yeah, so that's almost 5 months.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. This has been quite the thing.
It has been. It's been
and we're getting really close. We're getting really close. I mean, we've just finished doing the raw recordings with our wonderful cast. And now I'm in the process of trying to sort out literally hundreds of different sound clips, hundreds and hundreds of them, and relabel them and rename them so we can actually make sense out of them. And then you and me and PJ have to go through and decide which ones are we going to use, which ones are we going to say no thank you to, and which ones are we going to borrow from.
Right.
So there's still work to be done, but boy, we're getting close. We're getting a whole lot closer than we were. And it's exciting. It's really cool.
It is exciting. Yes.
It's fun because we talk here on the show a lot about how manifestation works and how manifestation starts out as a thought. And the thought, the more that we focus on it and apply some feeling to it, becomes a belief. And then the belief over time hardens into reality. And we're experiencing that. We're experiencing it like every single molecule along the way. It's really something. It's fun.
Yeah. And the reason I picked this topic for today is because it actually goes a lot deeper than I realized.
What do you mean?
Meaning the whole Grass is Greener project actually, if I really thought about it, started back when I was 16.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been a whole adventure. It's been coming a long time coming.
So it's all kind of fitting together in ways that you didn't anticipate when you first said, yeah, let's do that.
Right. And then it's like later on in life, it's like, oh, snap. They all the Legos connect.
That's cool when that happens. It's fun.
Yeah.
Because then you can kind of look back at the chain of events and the chain of ideas and so forth and realize that there was actually some method to all the chaos.
Right. That's what I wanted to talk about today, is the whole chain of events that got us here.
That got us here. All right. That's good. Well, then, before we do that, let's do the messages, the promos, so that we can remind people who are not yet subscribers to become subscribers. And by the way, people are doing it.
Ooh.
I mean, all along, but over the last few weeks, especially since we really went from 2 shows a day to 1 show a day.
Yeah.
I just couldn't handle anymore. Too much. It's like, no, stop. As much as I like it, it's like the old joke: stop, don't stop, don't stop.
Oh man!
But it was a good thing to stop doing 2 a day and get it down to 1 a day, because among other things, we actually are now getting substantially more people listening to each episode.
Right.
So basically, this was us not only trying to cut down on the stress on Walt, but also cut down on the stress on listeners who are trying to follow all the episodes, and now they can listen to them.
Yeah. Now we're orange juice with concentrate.
That's right. Exactly. No muss, no fuss. So if you're not yet subscribing, this is a long way of saying you ought to become a subscriber, because, well, first of all, you get all 5 episodes that we do every week. Second of all, you'll actually now have time to listen to all 5 episodes, because we aren't doing 10. And they're great. Let's be honest. This is a great show, and we have a lot of fun doing it. All of the co-hosts who are involved contribute all kinds of interesting information and insights and ideas and so forth. I mean, it's just a lot of fun. So to become a subscriber, go to the homepage of our website, loatoday.net. You'll find the instructions right at the top, designed for the device that you're connecting with. Follow the instructions. It's just basically a wizard kind of click and follow the steps by default. And when you're done, you'll be subscribed. And then make sure that you share on social media with anyone you might know who you think might be interested. The fact that you're your daily dose of happy with LOA Today. And while you're at it, you might also watch us on YouTube, because we are now live streaming to YouTube. We have been first, just like we were live streaming previously to Facebook. And with YouTube, of course, you can subscribe there as well, and you can get notified. Tell people how they can get notified, Alex.
Well, if you go to YouTube and you search for LOA Today podcast videos, you will see us and our smiling faces. And then you click the subscribe button underneath our smiling faces. And next to the subscribe button, there is a little bell, and you click that bell and you'll be notified every time we go live.
And get more of our smiling faces.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, please give us a thumbs up on our smiling faces.
Yes. The thumbs up actually helps get more and more people aware of us, of what we're doing, of the LOA Today podcast. And that's how we get more subscribers. And that's how it just keeps building and building and building.
And it also helps us know which episodes you like and which subjects you'd rather not hear us talk about.
That's right. Yeah. The feedback is actually really helpful, just by how many times people are viewing each episode.
Yep.
And I'm encouraged to say that so far, most of the episodes, the numbers just keep increasing. So that means people must be liking it.
Yes.
If this does not apply to you, just send us a note. Send it to Alex at LOA Today. I
think I need my own LOA email just for stuff that I say.
We can create that.
Ooh, don't toy with me now.
I'm not. I'm telling you. We can actually set it up so that it forwards automatically to your regular email address.
Oh, shut up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like it.
After the show for you.
Yeah.
So it really is Alex at loatoday.net. That's how you reach it.
That's ALYX for those of you who are not reading the bottom of the screen.
It's true. Yes. ALYX. This is the unusual spelling of Alex, because Alex is an unusual person. So of course she has to have an unusual spelling.
I'm not unusual. I'm original.
Well, original usually is unusual, actually.
Okay, all right. I'll agree with that. I'll co-sign.
When it's original, it's almost, well, actually, it is unique at that point.
Yes.
Until somebody copies it, but.
Yes.
Yes. So how many people have copied your name, I have to ask?
Actually, I Facebooked it once, and I think there's like 3 other Alexes, but 2 of them are guys, even with a Y. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still me.
Well, then you're going to have to do some research to find out who got the name first.
Ooh, I didn't do birthdays on their Facebook. I didn't Facebook stalk them like I usually do.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, I'll get on that.
Because once you've got that proven, then you can file for a patent.
Ooh, that's what I told my mother she should have did when I was born. File a patent. Hello. I'm a caramel freckled sparkly unicorn.
There you go. With rabbit ear headphones. I mean, what more could you ask? They ought to light up when you do that or something.
Oh, well, they can if I do this.
Oh, okay.
You got to catch the light just right.
So let's talk about the way that the grass is greener really originated, because we thought all along that it originated last February, but from what you're saying, it actually originated a number of years ago.
At least in my life. I don't know about your side of the story, but let me tell you. Okay, so for me, it started. I was 16 years old. I was in English, this great English class with like the only Black teacher at our school, and she was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And she assigned us this creative writing project, and I hated writing. Was not a fan. So I was like, I'm going to take this project and I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it my way. So I think it was like, take your favorite show and turn it into something, or turn it into an episode, an original episode. So at the time, my favorite show was SpongeBob. So I took SpongeBob and I basically wrote about him going throughout his day, but he was having the worst day ever. So everything, he would stub his toe and he would swear, but the creative part was he would swear, but he would swear with like underwater themes. So he would be like barnacles or like, like stuff like that. So my teacher thought that was so creative that she like read it to the class. I got an award and everything. So she was like, I'd really like to talk to you about creative writing. I really think you have a gift. And so that's when that started. And then it got me thinking, like, my life is very interesting, my family life anyway. And crazy things happen. I was like, someone should read this one day. And I had the visualization of me sitting on the couch as I decided to start writing this up. I had the visualization of me sitting on Oprah's couch. I was back when she actually had a show, and and explaining how I came up with the book and who the characters are and, the backstory and all that. And then that led me to, maybe I shouldn't do this because then the rest of my family might get embarrassed, because then if I create it as a fictional story, they're going to be like, oh, okay, but I know who she's talking about. So now TMZ is going to be like, oh, okay, well, this is her sister. Let's follow her around for a while and see what she does. She's actually so-and-so in the book. And so that whole dream, I was like, all right, let's put that away for a while. Yeah. Then I got into comedy later in life in my 20s. And so I was writing my own skits and stuff like that. So it kept going. Creative writing stuck with me for a while. And then something else happened. There was another thing. And then the whole idea for our audio play started happening in real life to a friend of mine. So I didn't realize that this was going to be the basis of our audio play. I was just listening for the drama. I was like, girl, And
so actually, when we were putting together the first episode, you were drawing from real life.
Yes.
Which is actually a good thing for a writer to do. I mean, the best writers do that all the time.
Exactly. Yeah. So there was that. And then along came Shonda Rhimes, who is like my idol. And she's just the executive producer of ABC. Like, all her shows are on ABC. They're all super duper successful. They've all had at least 100 episodes, and Grey's Anatomy is most the well-known one. And it's going on 15 years now. So I was like, yeah, I want to be Shonda Rhimes. I want to live that Shonda Rhimes life. So I was watching specials on her. She was on Oprah's couch. And so I was like, this could be a thing. And then you brought the idea to me and I was like, oh, I have so many ideas. Let's start this now.
And I was very glad about that enthusiasm too, because that's what I was looking for. That's literally what I was looking for, was who was going to get enthusiastic about it.
Right.
And I was glad that I thought nobody was going to get enthusiastic. That was my fear. So when you got all jazzed, I said, oh, thank God, maybe this is a chance.
I mean, we actually have to backtrack to how we met. And so I had taken a hiatus, like it's been a 10-year hiatus from comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw your ad on Facebook saying, I'm looking for comedians for a Law of Attraction. Wait. Backtrack to how I learned about Law of Attraction. Okay. So I was working for this hair company, and I was traveling around the country teaching different hairstylists how to use our products.
Uh-huh.
And my boss, someone introduced her to The Secret. So she was like, well, you're 22, you got to learn these things now so you can be successful in life and blah, blah, blah. So she got me under Rich Dad Poor Dad, and then she got me into The Secret. And I didn't care for Rich Dad Poor Dad, but The Secret, it was like interesting because I'm like, oh, okay, so there is ways you can make things happen for yourself. I was like, all right. Then I had forgot about it after a while, after I had quit the job, and I was like, because everything we talked about, we were like, Law of Attraction. Manifestation. Like, so, but after stopped working with her, I stopped thinking about it. And then again, the ad came up, and I was like, Law of Attraction. Why does that sound familiar? And then I was like, oh my God, when I was 22. Okay. Yes. I was like, so let me talk to this guy and see what happens. And then here I am.
Here you are. Yeah. And at the time, this is kind of an interesting aside to the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, we were going through some changes. Some of the co-hosts that I had at that point were deciding they needed to move on and do some other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I was realizing that I wanted to keep the twice a day schedule going.
Right.
And in order to do that, I would need to have more co-hosts even than what I had already had.
Mm-hmm.
And I needed to have something to shake things up because the show was kind of a little bit in the doldrums. Not a lot. I mean, we still had some good shows going on, but a few of the weekly episodes were not quite really hitting for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured, well, why not bring somebody in with a comedic background? Because I like to crack up a little bit and crack a few lines. It'd be nice to have somebody else who could do it even better than I could. And I'm sure there are a lot of those people out there, so why not? So I reached out and I got you, and I got Mark. He was with us for a while. I got Carlos with us for a little while, but you're the one who stuck. And at the time, I had no idea it was going to turn into a project.
Right.
A few months later, I found that article about the company that had been started by the producer of one of the television shows on the public broadcasting system here in the United States. And he had gone off and launched his own podcast network and had sold it to Spotify for $230 million. And when I saw $230 million, I sat up and took notice. I said, well, dang, that's a nice number. I like that number. I wonder if somebody can replicate that or even
nice round number. I like it.
I can live with that. Did a little research. And I really need to change this part of the story because it's a little bit bad mouthing of what I found in those other shows. So I got to change it a little bit. Let's just say I thought I could do a little bit better.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought I could do a little bit better, even though I had never created a fictional podcast in my life.
Mm-hmm.
The closest I ever come was writing a novel, and it had sold 26 copies. So, it hadn't really a bestseller, shall we say.
Oh, goodness.
So, it was a little bit ambitious. I was getting a little audacious. Let's put it that way. Okay. But I figured, hey, why not? Because the bar, quite honestly, was set a little bit low. And I figured, hey, I have as much of a chance as anybody else.
Right.
And then I brought it up with you. And it was interesting. This was clearly a law of attraction moment. Because like you said, you had that previous experience with attraction. But also, you had an acting background. And you had a comedic background, and you had a writing background.
Yeah.
Thinking, this is great. This is exactly the way things are supposed to work. I'm supposed to put it out there, and then it just comes in spades.
Yeah. That's
when I knew we were on the right track.
Yeah.
And we hadn't even written anything yet.
No, we didn't.
We hadn't written a thing. It was
months before we were like, all right, what do we actually want to do?
Pie in the sky at that point.
Right.
But then we had, I decided to just do a show on it, and Tom Wells got involved, and we ended up coming up with some basic concepts for how dysfunctional we could make the characters. And then it just started to happen after that. And I found that the skills that I'm really best at were coming to the fore. I'm good at keeping projects going. I'm like a project manager type.
Yeah.
I'm the one who says, Alex, we really need to start writing a script here. Alex, we need to do this. And PJ,
and I love deadlines, so just tell me when and where, and I'm there.
There we go. So everything's dovetailed, which has been very it's been good.
Yeah,
I think we've actually got something.
We do. We definitely do. Like legit, and I'm saying this from a TV point of view. I would watch this. I would watch this show.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you can listen to it because it doesn't have any video.
Yet. I'm saying. I am predicting this will be on TV one day.
You have plans for this, okay?
Yes, I do. We are going to be doing big things. We will be on Oprah's couch.
Have you cast the video version?
I have not. I have, however, thought long and hard if there was a movie about my life, who I would want to play me. It changes year to year based on hairstyles, weight, and eyebrows. So
I had no idea eyebrows were so
listen,
important.
Eyebrows can make or break your entire look. So
I'll take your word for it.
They're very important.
Okay.
If you notice, I know you don't notice other women because you're married to Louise or whatever, but if you notice a woman and she
is a woman, you know.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like other women, mostly millennials who are doing crazy things with their eyebrows.
That
like,
I had noticed.
See?
Yes,
and
I didn't understand it, but I had noticed.
Yeah, it's a whole thing, and people are overdoing it, and it's ruining your entire look, sis. Listen, it's ruining your entire look. Don't do the most. Do not do the most. And that's my PSA for the day.
well, I'd like to get a little extra opinion out of you about this because it's not just eyebrows. I've also noticed tats are the other thing. And tattoos, I'll tell you quite bluntly, I have never liked tattoos. I have never, ever liked them.
Well, then we can't be friends because I have tattoos.
So. Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening. We'll see you all next time.
You can send all your tattoo complaints to Walt at LOA.net.
No, I've just never really liked them. I think partly because the first tattoos I saw were on ex-sailors who,
right.
They'd been living with the tattoos for 35 years and the original tattoo had kind of sagged into something unrecognizable.
Right.
So it really wasn't terribly attractive to me.
Yeah, but now it's a whole art form and now it's totally different. And tattoos are actually a requirement for me on my dating profiles.
Really?
But it depends on the type of tattoos. Like prison tattoos up to your neck, I'm not for it. But like a nice sleeve, I can, if you wear glasses, have a beard, and have tattoos, holla at me at Alyx at LOA.net. Okay,
well then I gotta ask you, what is it about tattoos?
It's just so artistic, and then it's like usually tattoos have meaning, so it's like, okay, why do you get this tattoo, and what does this mean to you, and you know, so it's a table. What is it? Coffee table book? That's what it is.
But I always managed to have conversations without tattoos, so I'm wondering why the tattoos became necessary.
I don't know why it became necessary, but it turned into an art form. It's like someone the artist is using you as a canvas. So it's like when you go to the museum and you look at beautiful art and you're like, oh, it's gorgeous. It's the same thing, except now it's mobile. It's on your body.
I mean, if people learned how to do their own tattooing and they were doing their own drawings or whatever, that would actually make some more sense to me. But like you said,
some people do.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that at least makes some sense to me. I mean, at the very least, do your own sketch to give to the tattoo artist so they can do your sketch, you know?
Yeah, that's definitely a big thing.
That was at least yours in some way. You actually came up with it. You created it.
Well, that's how most tattoos are done nowadays. Either that or if you're not good at that, like you collaborate with the tattoo artist who is a good sketch artist and you describe what you want it to say and how it makes you feel and stuff like that. And then they put it all into the tattoo.
And now here's the other thing that really gets me about tattoos. So I want to see what you're going to say about this. The thing about a tattoo is, unless you're willing to go through laser surgery, it's there for life. What if
pretty much? And laser surgery is painful.
Oh yeah, yeah, and it isn't even 100% complete. It leaves residue behind.
Right.
You know, so you're basically making a decision for life. So what if you are dating so-and-so and then 5 years later you're done?
I have to agree with you on this one because I disagree with couple tattoos. I mean, to a point. Couple tattoos, like if you want to get like my sister and her husband, they had like he got the lock and she got the key. So that could be anything. You know what I mean? Even if when they break up, that can be anything. But if you get in people's initials and like your anniversary dates and stuff like that, like you just jinxed yourself to breaking up. I'm sorry. And Like there's I watch Love and Hip, not Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, sorry, Housewives of Atlanta, and this one girl is dating this, well, she's engaged now to this guy who tattooed every girl he ever dated name somewhere on his body. And they're like, so her friends are like, you don't feel weird about that? She's like, they all taste the same. I was like, oh, okay.
This is what I would put into the category of TMI, but maybe not.
There is no TMI on my episode. Sorry.
Note to self: be very careful about what you say to Alyx. It's like going on.
I have a shirt that says that. I have a shirt that says I should have came with a warning label.
Yes.
My mom bought me that shirt.
Your mom was very wise. I give her credit.
Yes, she is.
The other thing about tattoos for me is that they are. How do I go after this? It's almost like the person who's saying it is saying, "This is my life." Look at this tattoo. This tattoo represents who I am.
Yeah.
And the problem I have with that is, I don't know about you, my goal throughout life was to keep growing and changing. I don't want to be locked into what I was when I was 15.
Well, you're not. That's the whole point of multiple tattoos is as you grow and change, so do your tattoos.
Yeah, often in ways that we don't particularly like. The skin stretches out and funny things happen to them.
I mean, yeah, that can happen. That can happen.
Yeah.
But it also depends on where on the body. Like I would never get a tattoo where I know my skin's gonna sag one day. So, like I when I'm 80 and my nieces and nephews are getting ready to bury me, I don't want to be like, what was that? What did that used to be?
But ultimately, isn't that every part of the body?
Not necessarily. Not your shoulder blade, not your forearm, not your ankles. Where else? Let me see. Anywhere the skin is really thin, you really don't have to worry about stretching.
Because anywhere the skin is thin, that's where it's going to be.
That's where it hurts the most. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that fits in with Louise's theory about tattoos. Louise's theory is that tattoos is about a form of self-abuse.
Some people it is. Some people enjoy the pain, and that's their reason for going. They become addicted to the pain, and that's for them for getting more tattoos. But for other people, it's like, for me, it's a symbol. Like I have 2 tattoos that I want to get coming up. One is the always keep fighting symbol for supernatural. And it's basically saying, you've been in a hard place, but you've got to keep fighting and get through life. And then the other tattoo I want to get is the symbol for I survived suicide, which is basically it's a semicolon. It's a semicolon. So it basically it's the period means the suicide, but the colon means it's not over yet.
Okay.
So yeah.
I'm thinking about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you got past suicide. That's a good thing.
Yes, yeah. I do preach that. Yes.
I can see there's some value in memorializing that. Let's say. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a significant milestone. That's a marker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so remembering those markers can be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the third area, I guess, is this third? I think it's the third one. The third area about tattoos that gives me a little bit of a hard time is that I believe that most often people are getting them when they are most
intoxicated.
Well, that happens too. That's not actually what I had in mind. No, I mean, we go through development as humans, right? Mm-hmm. And the younger that we are, the more life lessons we're about to learn. The older we are, the more life lessons we've been through.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're earlier in life, we're more likely to be codependent. We're more likely to have, various kinds of situations where we're, in LOA terms, we're out of alignment with ourselves.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And then over time, hopefully, we're learning and we're getting better and getting healthier and healthier and healthier. My concern is that the decisions about tattooing are usually made in the early stages when we are least healthy.
The real tattoo people who are like really into the game, they take their time to think about okay, first of all, this is permanent. So if it's going to be done, it's going to be done right. And how do I want to represent this moment? And you take a couple of months, maybe to a year, to think about, do I really want this tattoo? Do I really want this represented on my body forever? The answer is yes. After a year, then get it. If you're thinking, I'm drunk, I feel like getting happy birthday balloons on my back, let's do it. That's why most of the time, well, I can't say in most places, at least in Massachusetts, if you are intoxicated, you cannot get a tattoo.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a little encouraging.
Yes.
But there's still the fact that, I mean, that might be the ideal way to go at it. And then, by the way, I don't know how we ended up talking about tattoos as our major topic.
Me neither.
We're supposed to be talking about the genesis of the grass is greener, but
right.
we'll get back to that in a moment. But as I look at how the tattoo cycle has gone, it doesn't strike me that the overwhelming majority of people who've gotten tattoos have taken a year to figure it out.
I'm saying my generation. that's all I can account for.
Well, your generation's the one that's doing all the tattooing.
Not necessarily. There's older people doing tattoos, and then also people are covering up old tattoos or re-tattooing what they have, so they don't get that old saggy Sailor Navy thing on their arm. You gotta update those things and keep them colored in, so it's not like, because blue turns to gray. It's a problem.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, you gotta keep up with it. It's a lifetime commitment.
I mean, we're talking about people who have trouble making lifetime commitments to a life partner.
Right. Right.
You want to make a lifetime commitment to a tattoo that they can't divorce?
But you think about it as a lesson learned. Like, okay, you know what? Yeah. I don't like ladybugs on my feet. Well, now I know.
In your face every time that you take a shower.
True, but it's the same thing with marriage. Like, if you finally decide, you know what, this was not the one for me. Well, now it's in your face every day.
Yeah, but you can divorce her or him. You can leave that person behind. The tattoo's there forever. Forget it.
Well, the tattoos, you can cover them up or get them removed.
Yeah, we already know what kind of pain's involved with that. So,
well, I've said you obviously don't have a problem with pain if you're getting this many tattoos. So,
well, that's the other thing. That's the other reason I didn't want to do a tattoo. I have no interest in pain. That's not. There's plenty of pain in the world. I don't need to add to it.
But tattoo, depending on where on your body, tattoo pain is not that bad, and especially when you get to the coloring in process, it's your body reacts and goes numb.
Somehow that doesn't seem like an endorsement, but okay, we'll just leave it at that.
So I'm pro tattoos, you're non-tattoos. It's cool. We're still friends.
That's all right. Well, that's an improvement, actually, because 10 minutes ago you said I couldn't be your friend. So,
well, I got to hear your side of it, and that's how life should work.
That's true.
That's true. View the other person's side.
And we managed to do it without getting pissed at each other. That's a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a little salty. No, I'm kidding. I'm low key not talking to you for the next, what time's the podcast tomorrow?
We're talking hours. Okay, I got it. So let's get back to the play, to the audio play, the grass is greener, because we've laid out what the pre-genesis was. But the way you were telling it, it sounds like it's been like an ongoing, not just a development, but also a growth pattern. Yes.
It's been in the works for like 30 years. No, I'm lying, because then I would have been 5. Although I was really good in kindergarten. I don't know what happened, but I was creative then too.
So what kind of growth are we talking about? And I'm thinking in terms of the idea of pursuing a passion, because that's what we're really doing here. We're doing this because we're both passionate about it.
Yes.
It's not that somebody's handing us a bunch of bucks. Steven Spielberg is not executive producing this and handing us $1 million to go make this.
Exactly. This is not about the money for us, obviously, or we wouldn't be doing it.
Well, eventually we hope it is, but.
Well, but that's not the reason, That's the goal, but not the reason.
If that was the reason, we would have quit weeks ago.
Right. We're like, this is too hard and I'm not even getting $1.
But it's an important piece. And it's the piece that we talk about a lot. The piece of finding what you really love doing. It took me a long time to find what I love doing. I mean, I'm
just finding it now, and thanks to you.
Well, you're welcome.
But I feel like I've found that a lot in different areas of my life. So like, when I was doing comedy, like that was my thing. And that was my passion. That was my future. When I was doing hair, that was my passion. That was my future. And now here we are, and I'm planning on being the next Shonda Rhimes. And I think this is the last step. I think this is the final one.
I don't think there's ever a last step, by the way. The last step is where you fall for dead. I mean, there aren't any of the last steps, really.
Yeah, true.
The beat goes on. But when you are going through the passion part of it, though, that's the big thing. I mean, each one of those things that you mentioned the hairstyle, you mentioned the comedy. One of those were legitimate passions.
Yes.
That we don't want to discount that.
No, still passionate about them to this day.
Yeah. What you're doing is you're discovering a variety of passions.
Yes.
That's where the real phrase comes from. That's the real meaning of variety is the spice of life. It truly is.
Yes.
Not only is it the spice, it's actually the source.
Yes. Experience everything.
Yep.
In moderation, depending on what you're doing.
Moderation is usually a good idea. Yeah.
You
really can't go wrong with moderation.
You really can't. You really can't.
No. And if you want to go further, you can go further, but now you have a place to go further from.
That's true.
If you go extreme, the only place to go is backward.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yep.
So if you're pursuing a passion, first of all, congratulations for doing that, listener. And second of all, follow the example of Sudbury kids. A Sudbury kid is somebody who attends an alternative model school called a Sudbury School, where the kids are in charge of their entire day. There are no required classes, there are no exams, no grades, nothing like that. They just pursue their passions. And literally what a Sudbury kid does in that kind of environment is, well, they do a lot of chatting, they do a lot of talking, but they also do a lot of experimenting. And experiments can last like an hour. 5 minutes. I mean, they can go quickly. The kid gets all excited about doing something, and 10 minutes later, he's forgotten about it.
Yeah.
It's drive the parents crazy, know. But it's a legitimate way of learning how to find your passion, because you have to sort through stuff. You have to just try a few things and see what happens.
You got to dip your toe in every, temperature of water to find out what you like.
That's right. So the Sudbury model originated in the Framingham, Massachusetts area.
Hey!
There you go. The Sudbury Valley School. And one of the great stories that comes out of that school is the story of the kids who got into plasticine. This was quite a few years ago.
What is plasticine?
Plasticine it's what it sounds like. It's kind of like a cross between plastic and clay. It's malleable plastic. And they literally would make characters and buildings and streets. They made an entire city out of plasticine. And then they had a war and destroyed the whole thing. Nice.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah. And if you're a traditional parent looking at that from the point of view of traditional education, you say, what a waste of time that was.
No.
But it's not a waste at all, because of a few things. First, they were pursuing a passion.
Yes.
Second, they didn't feel like they had to be married for life to that passion.
Right.
They just had to pursue it. And in the course of doing this activity that was seemingly pointless, they were actually learning a lot of things. For instance, in a school like that, the money just doesn't fall out of the tree. You actually have to, you have to apply for money through the various sources that are available in order to do your project, or else you can't do the project.
Right.
So they had to do something that you wouldn't think normally they would have to do in a school where there are no required classes. They had to learn math. And they had to learn it quick.
Yeah, not in school for me.
Yeah. They had to learn how to manage stuff. They had to learn how to manage a project. That was unmanageable because everybody was just pursuing their thing together. But they had to find a way to work together doing this thing. And they did. And they did it seamlessly, because kids do that seamlessly if they're left. They do. They had to learn communication skills. Yeah. I mean, you're working in a large group, you better learn how to communicate with each other, or else you're going to piss each other off real quick. Facts. They're actually learning a whole bunch of stuff along the way. And that's what's so cool about following your passion. And that's just at the school level. Right. Take that now to the adult level. Yeah. And look at all the things that come out of following your passion. And actually, it would probably be more than we could list here on the show. Yeah. Because there's so many different kinds of passions. Just to make one up, actually, I'll just pick one, my own. But the first big passion in my life was doing the LOA Today show. other than marrying my wife. And doing that show was the first time that I actually was doing an activity I enjoyed. And I don't know how else to describe it. It was astonishing. Literally, I'd been brought up in the generation that believed in the idea of hard work. We were taught hard work. We were taught work hard all your life. You will be rewarded. You will experience the American dream. You know, the 2.5 kids and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, picket fence and all that jazz.
And I went through all that. I did it for up through college, and then another 20 years after that, and then I met Louise, and then another 10 years after that, and I got nowhere. Not that I wasn't hard. I worked very hard. I built up a business. I was designing and developing websites and helping people with online marketing and so forth. And I hated it.
Yeah, because it wasn't your passion.
It wasn't.
You had no heart in it.
And yet I did literally what they talk about. I put my nose to the grindstone.
Yep.
I mean, I worked really hard. I developed a customer base and so forth, but I didn't love it. And as a result, it was a successful failure. In other words, it supported us barely. Yeah. But it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. So all of my working life, and even before I went out on my own, I was working in various companies doing computer work, because this was back in the day when most people didn't know how to even use a computer or even how a computer worked or what it was for. I actually knew how to do this stuff, so I got work based on that. I mean, there were no certifications. There were no classes to take. You just kind of learned it on your own, and then you got hired. But so that's what I did. But there was no passion there either. I didn't love it. I didn't love it. My brother loves it. My brother became a software engineer. He absolutely lives for it. He's currently working on helping rocket ships go into space. He's working for NASA. Yeah.
I have a friend who works for NASA. Okay. He's also helping build the ships.
Well, he writes some of the code that helps actually do the launches. So
nice.
Yeah.
They may know each other.
That's quite possible. I wouldn't be surprised.
But you got to think all the stuff that you learned with your nose to the grindstone and while you weren't loving it is coming in handy today.
No doubt about it.
So, I mean, because without your skills.
No, absolutely. There's no such thing as a bad route. All routes are good routes. The question here is, are you following the passion so that you are enjoying it to the highest possible degree? And that's where I was falling short. I wasn't enjoying it. Life was not fun, and life got more and more unfun as time went on.
And that can make people miserable, and then make them miserable to other people, not wanting to be around them, and then it's why they end up dying alone.
Well, that's one possibility. The other possibilities are there are like 3 different main categories that draw people into law of attraction: money, relationships, health, careers. Those are like the biggies. Yeah. And for me, I mean, fortunately, I had a great relationship and still have a great relationship with Louise. That got us through an awful lot. Yeah. But where we did pay the price was with money. I mean, when I left working for somebody else for a living, I actually had pretty good money coming in from my businesses. Good enough to certainly live on very comfortably. Okay. Within a year after leaving, the industry that I had built my first website in was the long distance business. And that had the crash of 2000. And it was just one bad thing after another. It was all spiraling downward. Yeah. And I didn't know it at the time. I didn't understand why everything I picked was going wrong. It was going wrong because I didn't have any passion behind it. And because I had no passion, I just became more and more resentful. And as I became more and more resentful, I was more out of alignment. And as I was out of alignment, bad things would happen financially. And it just spiraled continuously for years and years. Let me tell you, that wears on your psyche a little bit.
It does, yeah.
It really does. Yeah. So the passion part is crucial.
Crucial.
Even though I did not, and still not to this day, have an income coming from doing the LOA Today podcast, I'm so glad that I'm doing it. Yeah. And I recommend to anybody, follow passions regardless of what happens with income, regardless of what happens with relationships, regardless of what happens to your health, regardless of any of that. Follow them because they are passions.
I think I got a mixture of both of those because my father was very, you got to work, you got to pay bills, but, do it on your own terms. Like, work for yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And my mother was way into law of attraction way before it was a thing. So like, I guess I've been taught it all my life and just didn't know it.
Good for you, though. That's good.
But yes, they've always supported us in no matter what we wanted to do. As long as you had a backup plan, and B, you were passionate about what you wanted to do. Like my mother was very, what is the term?
I don't know.
Don't work to live to work.
Oh.
Yeah. So, it's like, even if what you're doing isn't making you money right now, if you're passionate about it, the money will come.
I see. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that makes some sense.
But yeah, work with your whole heart and do what you love. And because that was the other thing they told us is if you love doing it, it's not work.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just living your life.
That's true. It's true. And the other thing too about following a passion is, let's say there is one area of the big three or big four that
Mm-hmm.
can be a problem. Well, if you just keep pursuing it and going where life takes you and where your experiences take you, it can actually iron out to resolving that big issue.
Yep.
Without your intending to necessarily. Yeah.
That's why with my mother's support and teachings and all that stuff in the back of my head, I'm always like, it'll be fine. That's why I tell everybody, it always works out for me. It always works out for me. Like I may sweat it in the moment, but then I remember, you live a pretty sweet life. Life always works out for you. You'll be fine.
That's a good attitude. That's a really good attitude. That's strong. Yeah, with an attitude like that, you really can't help but bring yourself back into alignment every time. Yeah. You can fall out. I mean, we all do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Everyone has that moment where they're like, oh my God, why? But then, you got to reel yourself back in.
Mm-hmm. It's true. It's true. So that to me is the other part of the tale. It's the tale that is not yet written. Yes. But I see big things. I believe that the Grass is Greener project is in some way going to continue the development of the things that it's already started on. It's going to keep evolving. Mm-hmm. How it's going to evolve, I can't say. I certainly have my dreams about how it's going to evolve. Yes. Or you do too. Yeah. But I've also come to terms with the fact that it almost never works out the way I expected it to. No, but that's a good thing in this case. Well, I'm in this case, if it comes out the way I expected to, I'll be delirious.
See, I'm the opposite. Like I'm seeing the biggest picture you can possibly see. So anything short of that, that'll be cool. But long
as it's cool. That's the main. Yeah. Because you don't want it to be a disappointment.
Well, it's like you shoot for the stars, and then you land among the sand. You still landed soft. It's fine.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, and that is good. Aiming high and being celebratory about where you end up actually hitting. Yep, that's the main thing, really.
Honey shook. I forgot to do the hashtags. I was about to say honeysuckle iced tea, but
well. Fortunately, life has not come to an end.
I will email them to you later when I recall the conversation.
The way I look at it, I'm still ahead of the curve because on those shows where you're not my co-host, I have to come up with my own anyway, and I do it at the end trying to remember what did we talk about. Yeah. So you come up with at least one now. It's a victory.
Well, shoot for the moon, land among the stars is going to be one of them.
That's a good one. I like that one. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know who came up with that, but
I think you may have just now, but that's all right.
No, I feel like I've heard it before, but I'll take it.
Why not? That's not copyrighted. So.
Yeah. It is now.
So let's do a little. Wouldn't it be nice if dreaming?
Okay. I love this game.
We haven't played that together, you and I, on the show, have we?
We have, but it was months ago. I remember it was cold in my living room. It was cold.
Okay. All right. Well, it's now warm. It's gotten very. So wouldn't it be nice if this actually took off beyond our dreams?
Yes. Wouldn't it be nice if we were working on the TV movie version of this?
Oh,
that way we can do a mini series as opposed to just a 2-hour movie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, you've made it when you're doing a 2-hour movie.
True.
Based on a series, right? Because
Yeah.
if the series has gone on long enough and you are now have fans who are wanting you to do the 2-hour movie, it means you got a lot of fans,
Mm-hmm.
and they're really happy, and they're very disappointed that the series is coming to a close or that you haven't.
Hashtag supernatural.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, that's always a big sign. But wouldn't it be nice if? Well, actually, I'm not even going to say if. Won't it be nice when we have
Yes.
tens of thousands of people who are fans of The Grass is Greener?
Won't it be nice when we're sitting on Oprah's Super Soul Sunday discussing this very podcast of how we began?
That would be something. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I like that one. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice with if Steven Spielberg and Oprah Winfrey decide to invest in the next project?
Ooh, I like that one. They're gonna be in a fight though, because we've got strong ideas, and we
do.
It's hard to shuffle us around unless it's us that is agreeing on it. So,
but I'm just saying, of the movies that I can think of where they have co-produced, I can't think of one that was a lemon.
Well, I don't know if Steven Spielberg was a part of it, but it's my favorite book. A Wrinkle in Time was Oprah's. I feel like Steven Spielberg had.
I can't remember if he was in on that one.
I can't either, but that would have been a situation where. But then
there's a very high level of success when the two of them collaborate on supporting the project.
Because didn't they did The Color Purple together, right?
Yeah, they did that one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They did basically a small, what you might call a B-level film that's one of our favorites. It's called the 100-Foot Journey. And
Never saw that. You
gotta see that one. It's a really, really good movie.
My mother probably saw it. She loves B movies. Yeah. Like she's a fanatic.
This is one of the best ones, and the two of them supported that one. And I think they basically just did it financially because everything was done by other people. Their names appear on screen, but they basically just handed off the reins, which is the best possible way to do stuff.
Yeah, outsource. Work smarter, not harder.
And the director they brought in, I can never remember his name, but he has such a creative way of directing. He tells. I mean, a good director tells a story, right?
Yes,
that's what a director does. He tells a story in a way that is Spielberg-like. Spielberg knew how to tell a story. I mean, he was a great storyteller while he was doing his primetime directing. And this guy has his own style. It's different from Spielberg's. But he really knows how to tell a story too, and you just get sucked into a story that. And by the way, he can tell a story that isn't about things blowing up.
Okay.
But he can tell a story that actually has a nice storyline to it, and it works. Which is that to me is the real art form when you can do that.
Well, there are a bunch of Black female directors that are up and coming right now, and they are hot in the business. Like Ava DuVernay.
Okay. I don't know who she is, so tell us who these people are. Just name names here.
I'm trying to remember the most recent. They're basically all Black stories that are coming out. She just did When They See Us. I think that's the name of it. It's the Netflix special about the Central Park 5. Okay, all right. Yeah, so that's huge, and basically stories like that, and they're just doing their thing right now, and pretty much. So my point was, wouldn't it be nice when Ava DuVernay is directing our miniseries? Oh my goodness! No offense, PJ. Just saying.
Wow. Well, actually, I'm not sure. Maybe not so much this series. Maybe the next series. I mean, because I don't see this being the only series. I don't know about you.
No. It's going to be like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, or Harry Potter or something. It's going to be like it's a series within the series. You know what I mean? Like we'll probably have like Lana when she turns 16 and that whole thing. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Spin-offs and even new concepts.
Yeah.
To me, that's the really exciting part. I mean, one of the reasons I started doing this project was because I thought producing was actually going to be a pretty good thing. That was a good role for me because that's behind the scenes management, basically.
Right.
And I can do that part. I like doing the podcast. Don't get me wrong. I love doing the podcast, but I don't really see myself as a front man. I've just never been that kind of a person.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm happy to take people who do like to be the front man or the front woman and put them out front, and help them get some good script and help them get some
Yep.
good direction,
Mm-hmm.
and put together a really good project.
Yeah.
And plus, I do, on some level, I want to remake the way stories are told.
Yes. Yes.
And we've talked about that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because so much storytelling these days is focused on what we don't want.
True.
And that's my pet peeve. If I have one pet peeve in the world, it's all the story, not all of them, but 99.9% of the stories are about things we don't want.
Yeah, but you got to finish the story, because then it gets to the point where, okay.
The good ones do.
The good ones, yes.
But
that's the only ones I'm looking at.
But there aren't that many good ones. I mean, literally, there are hundreds, thousands of movies put out every year. Do you like them all?
No.
Do you like the majority of them?
But I'm a finicky watcher.
Well, I think anybody with any kind of taste is going to be finicky.
Yeah.
So I ask myself, of all the movies that come out every year, what percentage of them do I like?
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's a really small percentage. Let's just say it's less than 1%.
Wow.
It's a very small percentage. And why don't I like them? Because, well, they're bad. They're just
Tell them why you're mad, Walt.
No, but what I mean by that is they don't tell a story that leads you to a better place in most cases.
Right. Okay.
Some do. I'm not saying that none of them do. There are some that do. But the vast majority of them, I mean, I'll even pick one that I've never watched, but I know very, very famous, and I know enough about it to be dangerous.
All right, hold on. Let me buckle myself in. Hold on. Okay.
Game of Thrones. From everything I've heard about Game of Thrones, there's no really redeeming feature that comes out of it. I mean, everybody dies. Everybody is killed off. It's like one death after another. It's like, what's the freaking point here?
If you knew what was happening, you would see the law of attraction side of it.
Oh, I don't doubt that there's a law of attraction side of it.
Right. But it ends. Okay. The last season was horrible. However, for the character who ended up becoming king, he struggled. And we all know without struggle, there is no strength. And then at the end, he came out on top. So I have to give it to him.
Okay.
But you got to get through all the garbage first. I do agree.
and what about all those others who came before him?
Yep, they died. Mm-hmm.
So
they definitely died.
This is not exactly a happy story. This is a story that's sad, happy.
Well, see, that's why I like Supernatural, because people in Supernatural, they die, but they come back. Multiple times.
So we're mimicking what we know about source energy. Okay.
Yeah. It's all explained. It's all explained in Supernatural. I'm telling you. You can get into the show.
That I could at least understand that one. That one would make sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
But why don't you just watch, one failure after another, one painful end after another? It's like, I got better things to do with my time.
Well, yeah.
I mean, really. And that's the way I look at it. So maybe I'm the happy ending person. Maybe I'm the happy ending producer. Maybe that's what I like. I like happy ending.
So maybe you should just stick to romantic comedies.
Well, I don't even like most romantic comedies.
Oh God, what are we gonna do?
You mentioned
maybe you should just turn the TV off.
I have turned it off, and for good reason.
Oh my God! When they said pull the plug, they didn't mean literally, but okay.
Alex, you obviously have not heard the joke. There are 1,000 channels on cable, and there's still nothing on.
Still nothing on, yeah.
That joke arose for a reason.
Yes.
Because it really was
very true right now, because we are in fall hiatus. So these summer shows are not cutting it. Okay.
And I think there's a law somewhere that was written that said that when you don't even have new stuff being created, you have to play the worst of the stuff that was played before.
Yes.
Probably because it's cheapest.
Yeah. It's like, remember that really bad episode you all hated? Guess what's on tonight?
And we'll play it all week long.
Yep.
Well, I promise you that's not going to happen with The Grass is Greener, because all of our episodes are going to be wonderful.
No, not if we're both working on it, because,
I can't promise that every episode is going to be wonderful. I hope it will be. I'm planning on it, but I can't promise that.
It's all in how you look at it,
Well, it's true.
you know.
Well,
But I
but
can't
it's also got to be how our
guarantee
listeners
every.
look at it. I mean, if
Yes.
listeners are looking at it different from the way we're looking at it, we got.
Well, no, that's what I meant by you. But we can guarantee there is growth.
There is going to be growth for sure, and
Mhm.
I mean, you never really know when something's going to be a hit.
Right. Well, I do.
Well, you do, but
Yeah.
that's because you know everything.
Hello. What I've been saying. Let's start making the T-shirts, people.
So with that lovely thought in mind, before we leave, I know that we're in hiatus, and I know I asked a couple days ago, but I should ask you now, are there any spoilers that people need to know about since you're not doing the spoiler alert podcast anymore?
There is, but I'm not going to hurt the world by saying it because I found out this morning who the Bachelorette picks and whether or not it works out. And I was upset. So I'm not going to do the same thing to people.
I think we have actually experienced ethics here on the show.
No, it's my first attempt at empathy. So
okay.
I'm not my brain's not wired that way. So this is new for me. This is new territory.
Well, you're just proving our point that, we keep growing in life. You've reached, 35, 36, and you've decided to go to empathy. That's good. I'm glad.
Well,
That's good to know.
I'm not saying it's going to be a permanent situation. I'm just saying this is today's Alex's problem. Okay. Tomorrow, Alex is a whole nother ball of wax.
Got it. Okay. All right. Well, with that thought in mind, we'll leave it right there. There will be more to come because we're going to be announcing the release of this sometime in the next couple of weeks, I think.
Bum, bum, bum.
So you want to stay tuned for that. Make sure that you're subscribed, by the way, if you're not subscribed, so you can get that announcement about when we are releasing.
Subscribe everywhere.
First episode. So stay tuned for that. But thank you very much for sharing your story, because I didn't know that backstory. That was very good.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I thought you'd appreciate it, and the fans too.
So this goes on to, the future equivalent of the DVD. I don't know what that equivalent is, where you have the making of. This is part of the making of.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you to our podcast listeners as well. We will see you all next time here on LOA Today. Goodbye, everybody.